jumping into game 1. It's going to be on Whispers of Gold. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the South Korean South Korean Terran player. But lunacy was on the mind. South Korean Terran, the blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And you know what time it is. If you're in the chat, it's Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you believe will be this week's tuna. Who is sparkling? Who is the tuna? Is it going to be Trigger? Is it going to be ByuN? Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat as we settle in. And again, I hope you've all been having a great night here. It's been an intense event so far. And ByuN, even though I would say this, again, a lot of star power behind ByuN, did stumble his way into the finals. We had, of course, Nikic popping off and forcing ByuN to the ace match. Even Cristiano had a good showing as well. May have been a 2-0, but definitely some strong opportunities for Cristiano to bring ByuN down. Likewise, Trigger, on the flip side, has been on the rise as of late. He has been improving so much. We did host a show match between Trigger and Estrella at the start of the year to actually try to get a better idea of how Trigger compares to the best player in the Americas. And again, Trigger has been benefiting so much here from being in Korea. For those who do not know, Trigger, he has been in Korea since like June. It's been what, 6, 7, coming up on 8 months? It's crazy. Oh my god. Trigger has been in Korea for a very long time at this point. He actually went alongside Estrella, Future, and Clem. They all went to South Korea together before Esports World Cup. Before EWC, they went to Korea together to boot camp and to train. They rented an Airbnb. They all lived together. They made like a more of a makeshift team house, if you will, in the month leading into EWC. And clearly it benefited them. I mean, Clem, he's the reigning champion. I mean, he won the event, so it did benefit the players. Clem, he won the event. Estrella, he of course did do well for himself as well, as he was a part of EWC. And Trigger, he's been reaping the benefits over the course of these online events. Unfortunately, Trigger, he wasn't at EWC, so he wasn't able to showcase himself there. But being in Korea, being in that environment, and staying in Korea, I do believe has helped him when it comes to his rate of improvement over the past couple of months. So you've been watching Trigger, you would know that he's been taking down players like Classic, like Hero, like ByuN, like Cure on a more regular basis. It's been impressive to see the growth of Trigger. Has been impressive. Here we go. But now we do have our setup, our 1-1-1. CC on the high ground, as ByuN will soon expand. A very safe setup here by ByuN. Does avoid the CC on the low ground. Back at home, we have our tech of choice. Trigger going to be opening up Blink. Could be Blink-based opener here to Trigger as it does move out. It does move out here for a bit of a scout, trying to get a read on what's going on. Playing it likewise very safe as well. As ByuN, he can now expand. I believe ByuN, he did skip his SCV scout. Yes, checking his vision. No SCV scout, no Reaper scout. ByuN has no idea what's going on until now. That's really what the mind drop is going to be for. The word mind drop is not about getting damage done, it's about scouting. I mean, damage would be nice, don't get me wrong. It would be nice to pop off and get like 7+ probe kills, but really it's all about figuring out what's the tech. Is it a Stargate? Is it a Robo? Is it a Twilight Council? How many gateways? How greedy or how aggressive is my opponent being? ByuN is about to find out. As he does boost across the map, we have the Raven follow-up. Again, we've seen that Raven pop off against Cristiano. We'll see how he does against Trigger. Does make his way across the map. I saw the chat. The tuna's a fish, so we already know who the tuna is, don't we? True. Captain Tuna himself. Favorite player confirmed. I mean, what more can I say? It's crazy. As ByuN does rotate back into the main. Nicely done, nice rotation. Wouldn't mind does burrow. So far getting up. Nice retargeting. Nice on burrow as well. Alas, we'll get one probe towards the end, but does deny mining for as long as possible. Second with the mine does drop into the natural. And Trigger, he does react in time. So far, minimal losses. Medevac does survive, and ByuN, he does barely make it out, and he has that one Widow Mine ready to dive in for a second time, for a second dive. So this will force Trigger to keep some supply back at home. You can see 2 Stalkers in the main, 1 Stalker at the natural. He has to keep some supply here back at home to defend. And likewise, ByuN can now just chill, build himself up. Checking his vision, he now is aware, of course, of the Wing Stalkers. He did scout the 3rd base as well, as this was a more economic build. 2 gate blink into a 3rd base, into now a gateway explosion. So a very economic setup here by Trigger. Does have a presence on the map, but doesn't quite break in. We have charge on the way, +1. So Trigger, he's intentionally going to be delaying his 4th gas geyser here and delaying his production into splash damage, into Colossus. He will still get there eventually, but until then, going to be relying here on +1, on charge, on a gateway-centric composition instead. Before eventually working on the Bay and then Colossus production, or Storm even. Little Mine drops in once again. Delays mining, Medevac survives for a 2nd time. Again, this is just a thorn in Trigger's side of both the Medevac and the Raven. Trigger dipping in. He does spot the 3rd CC. He will delay. Nice pickup. Forcing a cancel as well. Very nicely done. Can he do it again? No shot. He can. He can, and he will. That's a kill. Oh my god. Oh, that should not have happened. That's a kill, not a cancel. Ay. ByuN slipping up. Is a massive pickup. Now he's committed. He has to move out. ByuN is pushing. And he needs to get some damage done with this. Either break a base or get into a mineral line. So far, catching out the Adepts. Not bad. Going for a double drop. As he has still not rebuilt that 3rd CC. Move out is spotted. Trigger's all over this. Module comes back in for the 3rd time. But it's cleaned up. It's cleaned up across the map. ByuN stimming in. There are some reinforcements. Charge is now done. Colossus production is on the way. Nice depowering of the gateways. Our Trojan's pylon goes down. We'll delay reinforcements. And ByuN is sneaking up here on the 3rd. Massive tank shot goes off. Nice force fields though. Very nice force field. Just cutting the army in half. Ooh, but the tanks there are so brutal. They punish the Stalkers. Drop back into the main base. And we've seen this before. We saw it against Cristiano. We're seeing it here against Trigger, where Trigger is being pulled apart. Their pylons are falling. Stalkers are going down as well. Brutal pickoffs. The Colossus, no, it's exposed. And the Colossus is going to go down. Massive pickoff. ByuN is forced out of the main. Gateways are still depowered. Forced to recall here to the 3rd. Trigger, he's barely holding on. And he will get on top of the tanks. He gets 1. He gets 1 tank. He's barely going to get the 2nd. But these are still some rough trades. And ByuN, he's not stopping. Remember, he's all in. Remember, there is no 3rd base just now starting up. A very late 3rd. He was forced into this commitment, into this counterattack. And Trigger is struggling. He is struggling to hold on. Mine shall say connect. And ByuN just keeps rallying. Just keeps rallying across the map. He's so close to breaking Trigger. Colossus has arrived. Trigger barely forcing back the army. Oh no! Mine shot goes up. Whew. And Trigger, he survives. He's surviving. I mean, this is the army. He's down to 2 Stalkers, a Colossus, and a handful of Zealots. He's barely holding on. ByuN pulls back. His 3rd base almost done. Consolidating his army. He's got double the army supply. He's done well. He's going for another June drop into the main. He's spotted. Up! And the Medevacs, they make it. They make it into the main base. Massive unload. Trigger out of position. Recalls on cooldown. It was just used to save the 3rd. He's trying to keep up. But he cannot. And ByuN, it looks like he has a broken Trigger. Takes down the pylons. Stellar run back across the map. Doesn't get much done. Nice trades against the Stalkers as well. Now, Trigger at least has a 4th. He was able to sneak out that expansion, and the base is getting up and running. So Trigger is still in this. But it is looking difficult, as momentum is in favor of ByuN. Oh my god. As once again dives into the main, takes out 1-2, every single Stalker goes down. And it's just too much. It's just too much at this point. The boys are being pulled away. No shield batteries. The Colossus is exposed. He's going for another dive. He wants a Colossus. He gets it as well. He gets it. The Colossus goes down. And Trigger is just getting torn apart. As he will lose the expansion, will lose the third. Oh, never mind. Trigger holding on. Still bleeding out some cells, so the Stalkers, they get targeted down. Nice control here by ByuN. So once again, Trigger, he's barely holding. Barely treading water. Saves the expansion. He survives. We're okay. As ByuN just has no chill. He backs up for a moment just to reinforce. And now he's going for the fourth. Going for the fourth expansion. Forcing the army to engage. Mine shots pop off. ByuN should get the expansion, but at last he still wants the army as well. He wants everything. He wants it all. And he can get it. Takes down the fourth, jumping into the main. I believe there is a recall this time, but GG gets called. It's just too much to handle, and ByuN will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played again. A very intense game 1 here. Trigger had a very strong start, if you recall, canceling and then killing the expansion. Basically, ByuN was forced into an all-in. He was forced into an all-in as ByuN counterattacked, and we saw that Trigger just barely couldn't hold on. A big moment for ByuN was when he pushed. If you remember, he found the first Colossus. He was able to catch the first Colossus at the third base. He stimmed in, he brought it down immediately, and Trigger just had a very hard time just building up and maintaining his army. Maintaining his setup. If you remember, we also saw ByuN snipe and depower the gateways early on as well, which also did, delay reinforcements. And Trigger had a very hard time keeping up. GG. GG, well played. There was a lot of pressure on ByuN to get damage done, and he did it. Pulled it off. Did pull it off. Takes a 1-0 lead. But as a reminder, this is a best of 5. Best of 5, not a best of 3, so we have plenty more games ahead of us. Plenty more games to come. Let's go. As we're getting into game 2, we're going to be loading into Frostline. Let us go. So we are jumping into game 2. Maybe he should. You're like, Babby, he poked the bear. He did. He did. Here we go, we're getting into game 2 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Frostline. We have the blue Terran player. We have the blue Terran from South Korea representing Shopify Rebellion, leading the series 1-0. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss from Canada, representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And again, it was a very, very close game. I mean, if we changed like 1 or 2 things here and there, if Trigger was able to save that first Colossus, if he was able to save that first pylon and deny everything from being depowered, small things here and there, and I'm sure he could have held, made a game out of it, even taken it, as ByuN was so committed. He was so committed. Basically all in. Eventually he expanded, don't get me wrong. Eventually he took a third, but that was after the fact. Now we're settling into game 2. Here we go. This Trigger moves in with the scouts. I think Trigger was just too greedy. I think Trigger had the tools to defend, like, quote unquote. It was just really unfortunate that he got caught out. If you mean greedy in the sense that, lack of static defense after killing the third base, I think I would agree with that. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there wasn't a shield battery at the third, but like even like a shield battery here and there, or a little bit more investment into site defense after gaining a lead. I think I would agree in that sense that maybe that sense of urgency needs to be there for Trigger, just because he was ahead, right? Like, I feel like after you kill the third, after you kill an expansion, mate, you gotta be like, okay, we need to calm down. we're ahead. We just have to survive. Just live, Bobby. Just live. True. For now, though, oh, opening up Marauder. Okay. ByuN going for a much more aggressive start. Going for concussive shell. Marauder production has begun. And typically the goal here would be to catch out the first couple of gateway units. If Trigger were to move out with Adepts and a Stalker, for example, to try and deny the expansion, then ByuN can catch him out. Oh boy. As Marauders are building up. Pulls away. Just poking in, trying to get some scouting information. So far, another Twilight Council opener out of Trigger, working towards Blink. Blink is on the way. And ByuN, he's coming here into an extra Rax. Interesting. Going for a 2-1-1 setup. Second Rax to be for the starports. The Marauders are moving out. And we'll see if we can catch. As Marauders are revealed, Trigger knows. And there's a recall. Most likely has to pull the boys here. I say that. In comes a second Stalker. Okay, he can hold his own. Has to be so careful, though. As ByuN, he doesn't commit. Likewise, neither does Trigger. Whew, okay. We have a game. we have a game. We have a back and forth. Again, ByuN, he was hoping to catch like a stray Stalker, a stray Adept. Trigger was being very careful, very safe. Didn't lose anything. And from here, Trigger takes a third. I'll take a third expansion. Meanwhile, ByuN already has Stim in production as well. Bearing in mind that ByuN, with this style, with this initial 2-1-1, he has 0 tanks, so he has no factory production, essentially. The factory just being used to make add-ons, more than anything. Just reactors, tech labs. And ByuN is hyper-fixated here on his bio composition instead. On his Marines and Marauders. So it's all about that bio. Trigger pokes in. There is potential for damage in the main. But Trigger, he's still waiting for his high ground vision. The Observer's on the way. As Trigger moves out, we have ByuN moving in with his Mind Drop. And he will confirm the Twilight Council's still researching, so he knows a charge is on the way. Just like the previous game, Trigger is going to be delaying his Colossus production in favor of +1 in charge. Assuming we get a Forge. Assuming that the Forge is on the way. ByuN gets one probe. Trigger, he pulls back in. Now we can saturate. Now we can calm things down. We can saturate. Trigger, he scouts the main. I'm sure he's tempted to die. Oof, rough blink. There we go. Does dive into the main base, getting a depot. Not bad. Brings down the depot, but oof, rough blink. One Stalker gets picked up. And ByuN should be aware that there's an Observer somewhere. Otherwise, how else will Trigger get high ground vision? Dives in once again. Gets another SCV. Oh. But Blink's on cooldown. He's trapped. Oh, God. Jesus. Does Blink away in time. Gets the hell out of there. Back at home. Now that we have a third base, we can now afford the Bay. Bay is on the way, working towards those Colossus. Trigger needs a little bit more time. And ByuN is getting his third CC on location. Bold move. He's going to be on location. As ByuN moves out, goes for a drop into the main. 6 Marines and a Marauder. Forces the defensive warp in. ByuN's trading well, takes down the Zealots. He's trying to force a bigger reaction. At the same time, here comes the main army. But Trigger, he's ready for it. Trigger, he's in position. We'll bleed out 2 of their Stalkers, 3 Stalkers even. ByuN's trading well. He focuses on the Stalkers. He still wants whatever is left. He's forced to pick up. Forced to pick up. Boom, medevac goes down. Nice pickoff. Trigger holds. Ooh, Trigger, he holds on. And I believe he's building up his Colossus. He has 1, soon to be 2. First Colossus has arrived. We have range on the way for the Colossi as well. But ByuN gets away with his 3rd CC. Does get away with it on location. Again, welcome to Frostline. It's a large map. One of the larger maps in the map pool. And Trigger, he has yet to really achieve any harassing damage here outside of his Stalkers earlier. Zealots are getting ready. Trigger, he should be aware of the expansion of the 3rd. Just now scatting across the map. ByuN looking for a way in. He gets spotted. Trigger is aware.
Trigger, he's aware, he's trying to keep up. Colossus exposed, and not again. The Colossus is going to go down. Massive pickoff. Trigger caught with his pants down. He was out in the open. Massive catch from ByuN. And that's what I was hoping for. Trigger at the same time going for a Zealot run by. More Stalkers going down. These losses are brutal. Zealots, they do well for themselves. They get 5 SCVs. But only 5. Zealots are cleaned up. ByuN does turn back around. Trigger going for another run by. He has potential. But still bleeding out a little high-tech units. Whether it's Stalkers, whether it's Colossus. ByuN keeps pushing. And Trigger, he needs a Zealot run by to get damage done. He's so reliant on it. High ground, we have 1 Colossus. We have force fields. Not bad. Zoning back the army. Colossus putting in a lot of work. There's a shield barrier in the high ground as well. Trying to force some friendly fire, but the mine shots they shut down the Zealots. Trigger, he does get across the map. But ByuN, he catches another Colossus. He gets it. Yeah, he sims in. And ByuN, he has broken Trigger. The boys are being pulled away. They cannot escape. Losing every single worker here. And ByuN, he snowballs out of control. He breaks through the defensive line. Gets into natural. Takes down the Stalkers. And these losses, they were just too brutal. Again, losing that first Colossus was insane. And then the second, of course. But imagine that fight with 2 Colossus instead. Then Trigger holds. Would have a much cleaner defense. And we'd have it back and forth. But not this time. Not this time. And it shows how unforgiving StarCraft can be. As ByuN, he does dive into the main. No energy for a recall. ByuN just pulling Trigger apart. Diving in with the EMPs. Using connections. Trigger now to 2 Colossus. That's still going to be 15 worker kills though, and everything gets depowered. ByuN still trading well. Takes down a mineral line. He sims in. He wants the army. He wants the Colossus. He wants it. Settles for the Immortal. Immortal goes down. ByuN forced back. Still the supplies are relatively close. And DTs, they get across the map, they get 3 SCVs. But ByuN still has a better economy. 4th base is on the way.
ByuN, he can maintain himself. Trigger less so. As Trigger, he's up to 2 Colossus, that is true, but what about the buffer? What about the Gateway Army? That's what Trigger is struggling. As he does repower his gates. Trigger, he is on 4 bases. ByuN dives in. Trigger trying to hold on. So far, buying time. Zoning ByuN away. From here, we could see Trigger going to Disruptors, and that would be a way to recover. Now just going Mass Immortal. As ByuN rotates, Trigger, he does somewhat keep up. Too far behind. He keeps up with the rotation. DGs across the map, they get cleaned up. We're forcing ByuN back. And Trigger, he is actually keeping up here in supply. Impressive. Despite that, the first Colossus will still fall. It goes down to the Vikings, and this is going to be a rough fight for Trigger. Once again, he has no Gateway Army here to support. And Immortals are going down, one after the other. Expensive losses. And the Colossus should barely fall. One more shot does go down. Despite that, though, Trigger forcing his way through. Still has the 1 Immortal left over. Let's go. I mean, just still really expensive losses. And it's been a relatively cheap army for ByuN. I say relatively because he did lose all of his ghosts. The ghost count was reset. We have 3-3 now starting off for ByuN. Letting his 4th base himself. Trigger getting a 5th. Getting a 5th expansion, making 2 Colossus at a time. What's important here is that Trigger, even though he's been trading really... these have been really rough trades, like when it comes to the army. The economy, though, still looking decent. He's on a 4-base economy, fully saturated. He is maintaining himself. He's keeping up with ByuN. Fifth base is on the way. As Trigger moves in. Tusker from the planetary. He can't really do much about it, though. Gets 2 SCVs. First Zealot run by. ByuN's in position. Denies the Zealots. I would imagine ByuN won't be moving out without his ghosts, and there we go. The ghosts are now being rebuilt. Still very tense. A part of this as well, like despite some of the trades and some of the pickups from ByuN, because how large the map is, it takes that much longer to reinforce across the map. How much longer to commit to the aggression. No, the disruptors are here. If we can land some of these Novas. There we go, so. Zoning for now. Second Nova as well. Trigger, he refuses to go down. He's lost how many? He's lost 4 Colossus and 5 Immortals so far this game, but he's still up here. He's still getting up to maxed out. He's been able to rebuild. His 5th base is up and running, untouched. Vikings, they get 1 Colossus, but they are exposed. The Vikings are going down. 4 Vikings falling. Trigger pulling away. ByuN going for a Doom Drop. But this time we have plenty of Spotter Pylons. Trigger's aware, getting a 6th expansion. Expanding towards ByuN. Trigger, he's maxed out. As he's max, ByuN is going for a counterattack, hoping to force a recall. Does he force Trigger back home? He does. Yeah, Trigger turns back around, leading out the entire middle line. That's going to be 16 probes falling. Likewise, Trigger still being active here on the map. Lose the base. ByuN dropping into the main. Novas are going up. Some decent connections, but nothing major. Yeah, they graze the Marauders. Massive pickles here, losing every single disrupt. Oh my god, the move command! Brutal control here. The move command was insane, and ByuN shuts down the main army. Oh no. And Trigger, he plummets in supply. Not like this. He lost all the disruptors. Is rebuilding. But this is mainly a Zealot army. It's mainly Zealot here. He lost everything else. Not like this. I see lost 6 disruptors. Down to 1. 1 disruptor left. Like, I appreciate what Trigger was trying to do here in the center. Like, he was hoping he could defend back at home with his warpins, and was trying to maintain map control, but his attention was split, and I mean, he lost everything. Now ByuN being forced back, both armies are remaxing. But I'm concerned here that despite the armies remaxing, Trigger has a smaller or worse army. A lower quality army. He's got 3 disruptors and a Colossus. Again, it's mainly a Zealot composition. The BMPs, they pop up. Zell diving on the Ghost, not bad. 2, 3, 4 Ghosts going down. ByuN, he will lose all the Vikings. Meanwhile, he takes down the 6th base. Knocking down bases. Disruptors are exposed. Novas, they pop up. Decent connections, but he's going to lose every single disruptor. Yeah, down to 2 once again. ByuN, he does collapse in. Probably going for the MPs. Boys are being pulled away. And ByuN is going to be forced back, but still he takes down 21 workers. $21 SCVs going down. Trigger falling further behind. At one point he had 6 bases, now he's down to 4. Now he's down to 4 bases. I mean, really, barely a 3 base economy. Not even. He's down to 45 workers here. Decent Novas. Catch a Ghost. They clip the Marauders. The DT's popping off. Let's go. But 1 Dark Templar. Forcing ByuN back. Getting 8, 9, 10 SCV kills. Oh my god. Blinks away. Forcing another scan. The main armies do clash. Made the value DT. It's crazy. Trigger, he has to accomplish something with this army. I mean, hey, he has 5 disruptors. He has potential. If he can land these Novas. If he can land them. Speaking of ByuN coming in with a surround. And we've seen this before. Novas, they try to zone away. ByuN, he sims in, takes 1 massive Novas to the face. But the surround is still too good. The Novas are not bad whatsoever, but he surrounds the army, cleans up every single disruptor. And GG gets called. ByuN, he will extend his lead in the series up 2-0. GG. GG, well played. ByuN once again just pulling Trigger apart. I'm impressed that Trigger was able to survive as long as he did, like despite things looking quite dire, despite losing so many Colossus and so many Disruptors, because of how large the map was, and because ByuN wasn't doing too much economic damage, Trigger, he was able to maintain himself. He was able to survive, build back up. Remember, he maxed out at one point, and I want to say that Trigger, he stabilized as well, but that was before he lost all the Disruptors in the center of the map. I'm referring to the move command. I'm referring to when the Stalkers move commanded in, when the Disruptors were left idle. Obviously, that was by accident, and I would imagine that Trigger was hoping he was maybe pulling back with the army, but did leave it idle in the center, and he lost everything. Lost everything then and there, and ByuN, he never really lost momentum from that moment. GG. GG, well played. Oh, with that, we're getting into Game 3, and I'm hoping for a back and forth. I'm hoping for a Game 4 or a Game 5, but the pressure is now on the Canadian Protoss. He has to fight back here and now, otherwise the tournament will be over, and we will be crowning our champion. Let's go. So we're jumping into Game 3 and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Protoss player from Canada representing Basilisk. Down in the series quite heavily here. He has to fight back here and now to make a series out of this. It is Trigger. And as we dive into Game 3, a big shout out to Captain Fish in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the gifted sub. Oh my, that's a lot of gifted subs, Pappy. Oh my god. 34 gifted subs. Thank you so much. Pappy God, thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. Again, Captain Fish, a regular competitor in our amateur events and a long-time supporter as well. Thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it, Pappy. Thank you. Again, hope everyone that got a gifted sub enjoys the emotes and enjoys the replay packs as well, as we do give out replays to our subscribers. So thank you so much. And again, it's thanks to the support in the chat that we get from subscriptions, from donations, which are more of a rare thing, that we're able to cast as often as we do and host events as often as we do as well. So thank you so much. We're fortunate enough where, I mean, we mention all the time that sure, we're the most active channel out there. We cast more than any other channel like Steadfast or Wardy or anyone else out there. We have the most content, but it's also thanks to the support that we get that we're able to do that. We're able to be as live as often as we are, as often as we do. Thank you. We appreciate it, Pappy. We appreciate it. Now, I hope you enjoy the notifications for like the next 5 minutes. True. As for now, we're settling in. We do have ByuN going for a Rax expand. Economic opener here out of ByuN, just going for the CC on the high ground. Later factory here for ByuN, so something more economic. Meanwhile, Trigger across the map going for his own gate into Nexus, or a gate Cybercore into Nexus, standard opener as well. Standard opener out of Trigger, more economic opener out of ByuN. It's raining subs. Oh, the subs. Let's go. Oh, they're still going. One day the gift notification will work correctly. For those that are curious, those pings are going to be going off 35 times. And not just that, but they're also going to be going off in the next scene as well. So look forward to that. Oh, no. Oh, no. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. As again, ByuN, he's on match point. One more game. One more game is all he needs to be our Sparkling Tuna for the week. Let's go. Una más. From here, setting up for a more committed drop. Hellions on the way, medevac as well. This time there is no Widowmine, just mass amount of Hellions, and we'll see if ByuN can pop off across the map. Adept is going to be denied. Marines, they hold their own. And here comes the medevac. Here comes the push. Going to be very committed, actually. Going for a marine drop across the map. Hellions towards left-hand side as well. There is a lot of potential here for ByuN. Adept shades in. We'll thread the mineral line. Meanwhile, ByuN commits. Trigger getting an SCV. He gets one. But here comes that drop. And back at him, what is it to defend this? Four Stalkers at the natural. And the Marines, they distract. They drag the Stalkers into the main. And here come the Hellions. As probes are being targeted, Hellions, they bust into the mineral line. And Trigger is being torn apart. Yeah, they're getting roasted. Probes are falling left and right, getting 11 probe kills already. Oh my god, thankfully they didn't quite line up. Whew. They do get away. And Trigger holds. He does hold on despite that, still 11 probe kills. Medevac does fall. Trigger from here, he's going to look to stabilize. Behind this is going to his third base. So even though Trigger, yes, he lost a lot of workers. 11 probes went down, but he has a third. Third base is finishing up. Likewise, Stalker's going for a counterattack. Hellions, they still pose a threat, but Trigger, he is back at home to defend. And he will. Shuts down the Hellions. Stalkers, they move out. Oh, they don't quite get any ACVs. Was close. So far, ByuN is holding. And ByuN, he's not done with his aggression, going for early tank production into Banshee as well. Oh boy. Banshees are on the way. Is there any... Okay, there is detection. Thank God. I was scared. We have one observer already. Second observer's on the way. Trigger has detection. Oh. Don't worry, I won't give you 42 subs every day. Not that rich. Only every second day. True. No, thank you, Captain Fish. Thank you. We appreciate it. No, they're still popping up. Are they still going? Let's see. Yeah, they're still going. Ah, no. They won't stop. What have you done? What have you done? But now they're triggering through his extra gateways. He's getting it up to his 3-base economy. And working towards charge once again. Again, this is kind of like the meta here to delay your Colossus, rush into +1, into charge, into a more gateway heavy army. Trigger, he does skip his gases here at the 3rd base, taking a faster 4th. Going into this more Swarmtail style. Or Gateway Man style, if you will. And here comes Trigger. Is pushing. He's got how many 8 gates behind this? Yeah, 8 gateways are set up. Trigger does move out. And we'll see what he can get done. Oh god. I cannot touch the natural. It's not going to happen. But the Prism does get into the main. And ByuN, he's across the map. Okay, he's going for that double drop. But so far, he does zone away the Warp Prism. Double drop slips in. Trigger's in position. He does defend. Trigger is keeping up. He deflects the double drop. Likewise, ByuN, he's somewhat keeping up with the Warp Prism. Somewhat. So he does attempt to move out. SCVs are going down. ByuN is dropping the main base out of position. He does quite intercept. Warp Prism gets away. Again, ByuN, he wants to push, but this Prism, it's been forcing him back home. It's giving Trigger more time. As Trigger, his first Colossus is on the way. ByuN moves out. And Trigger, he does spot the move out. Is aware, getting in position. Is getting ready. As he spots the army, he's going for his own counterattack. But Trigger, he cannot push into this. Colossus has arrived, will help, but that's still 3 tanks. And the base is going to fall. Massive pickoff. Expansion goes down. Trades well against the Zealots. Zealots across the map, they do nothing. ByuN, he defends. He defends back at home. I'm sure he wants to dive in. He wants to and he will. Takes down the Colossus, the Immortal. Brutal pickoffs. Trigger, he was pinned against the wall, and ByuN, he doesn't want to slow down. Tanks do siege, reinforcements on the way. There's no War Prison to keep him pinned. Remember, the War Prison did go down to the Vikings. And here comes ByuN. Does catch the Observer. Trigger's in the dark. He's trying to keep up. Tank shots the Brutals. They'll take away from behind. They get one of the tanks. They get one. Just the one. The other two survive. And ByuN is just an overwhelming army. He wants that expansion. As tanks, they reposition. Trigger, he's trying to be patient here, but he's up against the wall. The base, it's gonna go down. Trigger down to a 2-base economy. I just cannot deal with this. Cannot keep up. Leading out 7 probes. Zealots, they charge in. They charge in. The army is overstimmed. And Trigger, he might barely clean this up, but not even. The reinforcements have arrived, and ByuN, he's snowballing out of control. He breaks the 3rd base, takes down the Colossus. And what is there left? There's one Colossus, one Stalker. Just the one Colossus. Oh no. And ByuN is getting the final base. The backup 4th. It's also going to go down. Trigger trying to hold on. Oh no. Nice force fields, but still not enough. Yeah, the ByuN army just slips on through. GG gets called, and ByuN, he will take the series 3-0, becoming this week's Sparkling Tuna Cup champion. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to ByuN, as he does claim the series. Does take it 3-0. Very impressive performance here. Trigger, he did have his own moments. If you recall, I'm bringing it all the way back to game 1. Game 1 was crazy. Game 1 where Trigger, he was ahead. He did take a lead. I'm referring to Whispers of Gold. If you were here for game 1, you would have seen Trigger with a very solid start, denying the 3rd base, killing the 3rd base even as well, just picking ByuN apart initially. And then ByuN, he just went Super Saiyan afterwards. He just committed to an all-in. He just tore Trigger apart, catching Colossus after Colossus, depowering the production. And in the end, ByuN did overwhelm. It was a crazy comeback there out of ByuN, and still a very close game. Likewise, game 2 as well was very clutch. That was on Frostline, if you remember, where initially it felt like ByuN was killing Triggers, like sniping mineral lines, taking down bases, catching out some of the high-tech units. But Trigger recovered, like straight up, like Trigger, he was able to bounce back in that game. He was able to max out. Trigger, he did have a comeback on Frostline, but it still slipped through his fingers. It still did slip through. Like, we saw that moment when he got surrounded. Like, that was, oh, sorry, not when he got surrounded. That moment when Trigger, he lost all of his disruptors in the center of the map. Wasn't a surround, but did leave his army idle. Trigger at the time, if you remember, he was distracted. He was distracted by a drop into the main, and in the end, ByuN, likewise, the multitasking of ByuN was in full display here against Trigger. GG. GG, well played. ByuN does take it. Congratulations. And a shout out to Trigger as well, because even though he didn't take the series, even though it did go down to ByuN, he did put up a very strong fight. Even though it was a 3-0, a lot of these games were very, very close, and Trigger did well for himself, making it to the finals as well. GG. GG, well played. As, my apologies. Hold on. There we go. For some reason, the names out of game were a little bit bugged, but there we go. That's fixed up. ByuN did 3-0, not Trigger, so my apologies, as the out of game names were misplaced. That's all good. There we go. ByuN does take it 3-0. And with that, we are going to be wrapping up for the time being. What do I mean by that? I'm not too certain if our schedule is updated, but regardless, we'll switch our scenes over. Catch up on our schedule. Here we go. So coming into our next week here, we do have the WarD TV Monday tomorrow. True, we do have the WarD TV Monday, but in 4 hours. In 4 hours time, we are going to be live here with something a little bit different, something a little bit special, something that I don't think I've casted before. I have casted FFAs before, but I believe we're going to be casting a Beast of the Hill style format, which is crazy. But basically, I mean, we saw a little bit of it, I believe, in EWC when we had the caster show matches. But it's not quite here in the schedule. But in 4 hours, time, we're going to be live with with an event hosted and organized by Hyper1. It is going to be an FFA, but an FFA series that actually has control points, where you have these centralized points in the center of the map that they become activated, and players have to fight for control of that central location. And every couple of minutes, whoever has control of that point gets points. They get points throughout the course of the game, and that is how you become the victor of that FFA. So it does incentivize engagements, does incentivize fighting early on. So there you go. So we do have an FFA cast in 4 hours time. Likewise, I might do another cast after that. For those of you that can see this schedule, it's quite busy. Like we have a really jam-packed schedule. We've had it since like October of last year, like where I think throughout the course of like the past like 4 or 5 months, we've had like 3 or 4 days off. Like it's been intense. It's been intense. And I wanted February to be like our light month, where we could maybe, you know, take a moment and take a breath. But that is not going to happen here. Our schedule is actually still very full, and it's gotten to the point where I'm being asked to cast more events than I have room for. Like, like again, if you haven't tuned into the Cranky Ducklings before, we cast more StarCraft than any other channel out there, like twice a day, every single day, sometimes 3 times a day. What I'm referring to, there were some show matches that were held last week that were cast in Spanish. They were not cast in English. There's a StarCraft Evolution show match. I believe there was a show match with, was it Hero and ByuN? No, it was the Enki Pro Series. Enki Pro Series as well. So I have like a bunch of replays of events. Sorry, Clemenzaun. That's it. Clemenzaun, they had a best of 9. Which is crazy, by the way. But Clemenzaun, they had a best of 9 a couple of days ago. Rebellion and Homono, they had a best of 7 a couple of days ago as well. And shout out to Enki. Enki was casting all that in Spanish. He has given us the replay so we can be the English casters for those events as well. And I have to find a way to slide them in. And I have no room. We have the 2v2 tournament, true, like Thermal's 2v2 Cup. We're going to be casting that later on this week as well. We have the KSL. We have a StarCraft Evolution show match on Saturday. We have the OSC, OSC Championship that we have to go through. We have What Is TV Monday. We have Pickasaur on Monday. We have the Podcast. We have a lot. We have a lot to get through. We have the OSC King of the Hill on Friday. It's a lot of matches, a lot of events, and because of that, I might do a 3rd event today. So in 4 hours time, we have the FFA, we have the free for all tournament. If it's a fast event, I might do another cast after that. We might be hosting a show match, a best of 7 show match after the FFA. So it might be a little bit impromptu, but I need to cast everything. And I need to find some time. So depending on how long the FFA is, we might do another cast after that, and then we have Water TV Monday, and then that's going to be our Monday. So yeah, there we go. So we have a lot to come. A lot is ahead of us. So yeah, if you're curious, if you want to support the channel, you can just follow us on all the social medias. We post whenever we go live. !socials in the chat. I should also pay out the predictions. But !socials, and you will get a link to our Patreon, to our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord, all things Cranky Ducklings. If you see something here that you want to watch live, or if you can't watch it live, if you want to watch the VODs, check out our YouTube. Our YouTube has plenty of content here. We upload on YouTube on a daily basis, so plenty of content on YouTube. Likewise, we're live on TikTok, we're live on Facebook, we're live on Twitch, on YouTube, on Kick as well. We're live all over the place, all things Cranky Ducklings, plenty of content. And if you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon. Again, Patreon, I say support us, all the money on Patreon goes towards our tournaments. It all goes towards the events that we host, like Sparkling Tuna Cup. It's a way to support the community and support StarCraft. So if you want to support the Sparkling Tuna Cup, if you want to support Master Swan Open and Sea Duckling Open as well, then you can do so via the Patreon. Otherwise, We're gonna be heading off for now. I might go on I might have a small nap, just because the next cast is in 4 hours time, so I might sleep a little bit. At the same time, I'll be honest, because we've been casting so much, I've been falling behind when it comes to editing VODs and scheduling VODs. I have so many VODs to schedule, and I for those that are curious how we do things here on the Cranky Ducklings, I don't mind sharing this. Our YouTube, so far I've scheduled I've scheduled 2 casts, 2 tournaments a day, every single day on YouTube for the next 2 weeks. I think that's like 10 videos a day on YouTube. But I usually like being like a month ahead when it comes to our uploads, but I'm falling a little bit behind, so I have to catch up. And I have no time, Pappy. I have no time, so I might do that instead. We'll see. When can we sleep? Who knows? Regardless, GG, well played. We're going to be heading off for the time being, and again, if you want to tune in, if you want to check us out, you can check us out on all the social medias, on Patreon, Facebook, all that stuff. Otherwise, stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Who is live at the moment? Who can we send everyone over to? Let us check, let us find out. Percival is live. Let's go. We have Percival. We have, who else? Wardy is hosting his own qualifiers. It's being cast in other languages. Hurricane is casting in Japanese. Let's go. We might send everyone over to Percival. Percival, he's a Korean Terran player. Korean Terran. Great guy. Wholesome. He plays in our tournaments every now and then. Unless we find someone else we can raid. Let's see. Not too familiar with any others. So give him some love, give him some support. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. See you next time, Pappy. See you next time. We reached a critical number of broadcasts. We did. My friend is a patron. Oh, thank you. It's like Christmas. It's like every other month with the Cranky Ducklings. True. Alright, but yeah, with that, thanks for watching, thanks for the support. Again, you can follow us. We're live every single day, multiple times a day on the channel, and we're going to be live in 4 hours with some FFAs. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow, or whenever we catch you. Yeah, we'll find you sometime, I'm sure. Otherwise, see you next time. Until then, ciao, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. See you next time.